On the night of June 5th, 2009, police made an emergency trip to an abandoned farmhouse in Hillsboro, Texas. When they got there, they saw a mother outside with bloody hands held up high. But what exactly had just occurred inside the house was a nightmare nobody ever expected. This is the case of Debra Jeter. Hello, friend, and welcome to the third day of the 12 Days of High Time Crime. My name's Joel, and on here I specialize in true crime and also math. No, I'm just joking. I'm not good at math. But anyway, today we're going over the case of Debra Jeter, a woman who committed the most irredeemable sin imaginable: child murder. Debra Jeter was born in 1977 in Georgia. By early 2009, her and her husband, Lee Jeter, lived in a one-story house in a neighborhood in Hillsboro, Texas. Debra was a part-time tutor at Hill College and planned to become a registered nurse. Together, her and Lee had two beautiful daughters by the names of Kirsten and Kelsey. Kirsten was a typical girl who was well-liked, while Kelsey was a bookworm and a Girl Scout who was notably intelligent and kind. Overall, the family seemed pretty happy and healthy, but in truth, there were extreme problems brewing underneath the surface. Frequently, neighbors called the police on them for being loud, and Debra and her husband Lee faced bad marital issues. It's unclear exactly what their disagreements were over, but by May of 2009, Lee officially filed for divorce. In response, Debra became extremely depressed. One night, she attempted doing away with herself right in front of her kids, with the method being through illegal substances. Ultimately, Debra survived, but she was sent to a psychiatric center known as the DePaul Center. Here, she spent a total of 2 weeks. Towards the end of that period, Lee filed for a restraining order against Debra, citing the most recent incident. In it, he argued that he should be the one to receive custody of the kids. He said that he feared that Debra was going to do something to them. She may be released within a few days, and I am concerned about her possible actions regarding the children, Lee wrote. Soon, the restraining order was granted, and Lee was able to breathe a sigh of relief. However, the day before Debra was scheduled to be released from the mental clinic, the judge held a hearing in regards to the Jeter family's situation. According to the judge, Debra had never demonstrated any resentment towards her children, nor had she ever put them in harm's way. Therefore, the judge lifted the restraining order and allowed Debra to retain custody of her two kids, a ruling that, in hindsight, was unmistakably bad. When Debra was released from the mental center, she drove up to Lee's house to pick up the kids. The date was June 5th of 2009, and Debra's two girls, Kelsey and Kirsten, had really been looking forward to seeing their mother again. The day before, Kirsten had even posted on MySpace saying, "I get to see my mom tomorrow. Yay." So when Debra pulled up to the house and the girls entered her car, the excitement was palpable. But it became even greater after Debra told the kids she had a surprise for them. As for what that was, well, the girls just assumed it would be something fun, like a night of singing American Idol songs or book readings, things that they had done many times before. But instead, it was going to be something much different. While driving around the back roads of Hill County, Debra sought out an abandoned building for the three of them to visit. Upon finding one, she drove up next to it and parked. The location was an abandoned farmhouse in a notably rural area. If anything bad happened there, it would be hard for anyone to hear. But once they parked, Debra and the two girls got out of the vehicle, and she convinced the pair to follow her inside. As for what exactly transpired while they were inside, we still don't have all the details, but using what we do have, we can at least piece together some information. So at some point after they went inside, Debra began coming after her eldest daughter Kirsten with a large knife. After catching up with her, Debra wounded Kirsten considerably, and Kirsten yelled to her younger sister Kelsey to run. Meanwhile, Kelsey started running, and Debra let go of Kirsten to chase after Kelsey. By this point, Kirsten was now lying wounded on the bathroom floor. Ultimately, Debra caught up with Kelsey and attacked her with a knife multiple times before calling 911. Here's the actual phone recording.
Hill County 911, what's your emergency?
I just killed my children.
Excuse me?
I just killed my children.
Where are you?
I'm in the abandoned house on Highway 77 right after you go underneath the highway. One of them's still alive. Hurry.
How? Under what highway? You're on Highway 77 where?
I'm on Highway 77 right after you go under 35 going towards Milford. Get an ambulance out here to save the one that didn't die. Come on. Hurry up.
What's your name?
Call them. Have you already called them?
Yes, ma'am, I have. Hello?
Hello.
Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Are you in your car?
No, I'm not in my car. I'm in the house walking around. And one of them's still alive for real. She's asking to be saved, and I couldn't handle that. She might already die because she's bled out a lot. And hold on. What, baby? She said, please say to her.
Okay. Well, we've got people in route. How many children do you have?
Oh.
Huh?
Two.
Two?
One is dead. One of them is dead. She's dead, but the other one, she wants to be saved, and she needs to be saved, and I don't see any lights. Tell them to get out here.
Honey, they're coming.
Now, one of the most disturbing things about this recording is that, as I'm sure you remember, Debra was training to be a nurse. So at any point, she could have intervened to try and help her daughters, but instead, she just walked around on the phone. But when police finally arrived on the scene, they saw Debra outside with her bloody hands up in the air, holding a cell phone. The knife that she used was on top of her car. As Debra was being placed under arrest, police stormed inside the house, only to discover a grisly scene. The 12-year-old Kelsey was on the floor dead, while 13-year-old Kirsten was bleeding out in the bathroom. Both had experienced multiple knife wounds. Immediately, Kirsten was flown to a nearby hospital to have emergency life-saving surgery. In the end, she pulled through and wound up surviving, but some wounds last forever. A year after this horrible incident, Debra Jeter was sentenced to life in prison in exchange for a parole deal. The deal was that in return for Debra not receiving the death penalty, her daughter Kirsten wouldn't have to testify in front of a jury, meaning that Kirsten also wouldn't be forced to relive the trauma all over again. Now, in the years since, Debra Jeter has apologized to her husband and daughter regarding what happened on that fateful day, but nothing can take back what she did. Her explanation for why she did it was so simple that it's mind-boggling. According to Debra, she didn't want her kids to experience the pain of going through the divorce. She imagined that the same amount of pain that she experienced after she learned of the divorce, her daughters also must have felt, which in and of itself is actually a very selfish perspective. Just because she felt so bad that she wanted to die did not mean that her kids were supposed to feel the same way. Yes, divorces are hard on everyone, but unfortunately, they're just another fact of life. Both kids had their entire lives ahead of them, and they deserved to be able to experience whatever the future had to offer. Instead, only one of those kids would get to experience such a future. According to everyone who knew Kelsey, she was highly bright and always had her nose in a book. Her teachers said that she oftentimes finished her schoolwork early and did very well on tests. This was the type of girl who could have grown up to become a doctor, a lawyer, or a scientist, but because of her mother's selfishness, she wasn't able to grow up at all. Rest in peace to Kelsey Leanne Jeter. But anyways, thank you for watching this episode of High Time Crime. If true crime is your thing, then please subscribe and hit the like button because that's all we do. I just want to say I have an all-exclusive Patreon where I post members-only content. 2 tiers, the second and the third one, allow for you to have your name at the end of each High Time Crime video. Thank you all so much for the love and support. Have a great rest of your day. Take care, friend.